you to all think about the last time someone touched you, last time you made love with someone, the last time someone spooned you, looked into your eyes. How did it make you feel? Are you smiling? Are you laughing, giggling? It was a fun time. Imagine how their skin felt against you. Was it nice and warm? Now imagine ringing your mum and saying, I think I'm going to have that urge next Friday afternoon. Do you mind calling up my sex worker for me? Now it seems ludicrous to some people, but for some of my clients, that's exactly what they have to do. And hats off to these mums and dads and siblings for doing this, because it's difficult. And when you're a parent, the last thing you're thinking is, in 16 or 20 years' time, I'm going to be organising the person who takes my son or daughter's virginity. And yet there's some fantastic people that I've met over the years as a sex worker. I've been working for over 20 years now, who have done exactly that. Are you smiling still? Are you thinking about that last moment? Now the thing is with Scarlet Road, the documentary that outlines a lot of my work, I get lots of emails. One of the most amazing ones that I keep getting is, I really love your work, I really support it. It's not that I don't support people with disability having sex, it's just I've never thought about it before. And that there, my friends, is the crux of the issue. It's been so difficult for people with disability across the world to gain equal rights in so many areas of their lives that being seen as equal in terms of being sexual human beings is kind of like the final frontier. And for some people, it's like a brave new world when you put me into the mix and talk about some people with disability accessing sex workers like myself. Now, some people also have said to us, it's not a human right to have sex, and no one's ever died by not having sex. You know what? That's perfectly true, maybe. But so what? What my job is about is giving pleasure. Why is it that so many people want to be the gatekeepers against people's rights to feel pleasure? I don't understand that at all, really. When you think about it, I'm putting a smile on someone's face. Think of all the doctors and nurses. They're dealing with pain and suffering and trauma and tears on a day-to-day basis. Plumbers, well, they wade through feces sometimes. And we all know what a visit to the dentist is like, don't we? Painful, we try to put it off, often ends in tears. But for me, it's about putting a smile on someone's face. It's all about pleasure. And remember, it's a mutually consenting adult activity here. It's about the sex worker choosing what I will and what I won't do, and also putting a rate, a pricing structure on that, and negotiating with the client about what they're happy to pay and what time they'd like to see me. The other emails I often get is, you always talk about men. What about the women? What about women with disability? Well, right now, let's remember that sex workers are of all genders, not just female, and clients are of all genders as well, not just male, like the media would have you think all the time. Consent is the big thing, and some people think that you can't consent if you can't verbalise like what I'm doing now. Now that's just ridiculous. You just need to learn how people consent. How do we get informed consent? Well, then we have to learn, we have to have education, we have to have resources, we have to be able to have peers and organisations that are really willing to engage with people, to teach people to be able to have these difficult conversations. And how do we do that? What's the best possible environment that this can occur? Well, that's decriminalisation, which the state of New South Wales and Australia and all of New Zealand has. And it's something that sex workers fight for all around the world. And why is this? It's because we can then talk openly. This is also one of the reasons why Touching Base, an organisation that I helped co-found back in 2000, has been able to flourish. We have organisations, people with disability, sex workers, even government agencies contacting us for information, for support, for leadership. And we're really proud that even after no core funding, after 15 years, we're still going, still publishing resources. we've put out a policy and procedure guide to assist organisations to be able to best support the needs of their clients as well. And we're really proud of being able to do that. I'd like to stress here, of course, that while we're talking about people with disability and sex workers, this is not the only way. And there are millions and millions of people with disability around the globe who are dating, who are married, who choose to be single, who choose to be celibate, just like the rest of the population. Okay, so I'm talking about the pointy end of the stick, about someone having a choice. And just because it's against your own personal morals, just because you yourself may not ever want the services of a sex worker, that's completely fine. But why should you be the gatekeeper, and why should you throw this option off the table if it's something that can be a really wonderful, fantastic experience for people? So, I bet you're wondering if I'm going to share some private information. You're all sitting at the edge of your seat. Well, the reality is that I speak quite a lot in depth in lectures and different conferences about specific scenarios with a lot of my clients with disability. You can also find out some of the work that we've done with Touching Base and my personal stories, and also Saul Espista, the president of Touching Base's experience. We wrote a book chapter in a book called Sex and Disability that Leeds University Disability Press put out. So what I'm going to do is just do a brief overview of some of the areas where sex workers can put a smile on someone's face. So basically, think back to your first sexual experience. Was it that rushed, drunken experience? Was it a lot of fumbling? For some people, they choose to see sex workers to lose their virginity. They do it over a period of time, or they might just come in and, want to lose their virginity just like anyone else. What sex workers provide is a very safe, secure, nurturing environment where people can learn, people can make mistakes without the situation being too threatening or overwhelming for people, really. And people want to learn about their bodies. They want to learn about other people's bodies as well without being laughed at or being fearful. And let's face it, there's so much airbrushing now in magazines that, seeing a vagina for the first time with real labia can be a shocking experience because so much is airbrushed these days. It's phenomenally bad. So there's those experiences. Some people just want to, feel normal, just feel like one of the blokes. That's something that John Blades, one of my clients in Scarlet Road, talk about, and it really touched people to make them think about it. And that's the thing. I want you to think about it as well. It's not an us and them thing. It's about all of us. We're all one car accident away from maybe being in a situation where we need 24-hour care and that we need support. And I always think, well, what would I need? How would I like to be treated? How would I like to be looked at? One of the other areas that I work a lot in is when people are going through rehab as well. So once again, that you wake up out of a coma and you're grieving the loss of, your life as you thought it would be. You're grieving the loss of the fact that some of your limbs may not work anymore. Often there's a lot of pain management, and you're learning how to walk, you're learning how to talk, you're learning how to feed yourself, having a little orgasm, having a bit of touch, having a bit of spooning, having someone look at you holistically is a really beautiful experience, and it's a real joy to be a part of people's lives. And as I said in Scarlet Road, sometimes one good orgasm is better than 3 visits with the OT, the occupational therapist. And I still hold true to that, I think. When someone's life is filled with pain, then to be able to make people smile and forget about all of that and just be in their bodies and having a really good, thorough, beautiful experience is a real joy. There's another area that I've spoken about before, and Carly Finlay is a fantastic blogger. She's a woman with disability, and she interviewed me about skin hunger. And it's a thing for most humans where we seek meaningful touch. It's about, that kind of spooning sensation, and it's not about someone being really kind to you, about dressing and undressing you, about transferring you from the bed to the wheelchair to the bathroom and back again, or brushing your hair or cleaning your teeth. It's about that real mindful, beautiful touch. And so it's one of those areas of skin hunger that I'm always aware of. And once again, my role is about putting a smile on someone's face and making someone feel good. So that's a little bit from me. And if you want to hear more about people with disability and sex workers, it's really important to hear our voices about what our needs are, what we need. And so Scarlet Road, if you haven't seen it, will allow you to be able to hear all of those voices, not just my own. So I leave you with one more thing. So Richard Branson, if you haven't seen Scarlet Road, I would really like you to. Saul and I are still waiting for our call. And quite frankly, we have so many amazing ideas that we think is right up your alley. We'd have such a kick being able to do these things and also make a lot of people happy. And let's face it, that's what life's about, isn't it? It's about trying new things. It's about, smiling. It's about giggling. It's about, setting new things for you to do and experience. Seize the day and put a smile on your face and the others around you. Thank you very much.